convenient.
All right, well, it's 12:30. I'm going to get started. Hello and welcome. My name is Stephanie Adams, and I am a faculty development and coaching specialist at UAGC. I will be the host of this session, Purpose, Passion, Vision, and Active Learning to Further Student Success. By joining us today, you acknowledge that this session is being recorded and will be shared with TLC-related materials. Microphones will be muted for this presentation, and we will encourage you to post questions and comments in the chat. Also, we have enabled live transcription. If you'd like to use it, click the live transcription button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Now I'm pleased to introduce you, Sarah Corpy, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director at the Division of Continuing Studies at UW at Madison, and Bill Davis, Lead Faculty Assistant Professor of Department of Organizational Studies at UAGC. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Listen, welcome everyone, and we sure appreciate you being here. This is a talk that I know that I like to participate in and give, and some of the goals here are that we are able to align you to some concepts here and refresh you on how you look at your vision and your mission and so forth. So some of that is all going to come together very, very easily here. And I'm going to continue here. And just, Sarah, would you like to say a few words before I start flipping through the slides?
Well, sure, Bill. I just wanted to say thanks so much for joining our session today. It is a pleasure to be with you, and I am excited to engage with you a little bit around this topic.
Thank you, Sarah. You know, and this relates to our culture of care. This is when we combine, we're in this for the students, right? We exist for the students. We're dedicated, we're committed to the students. You know, our UAGC Provost and Senior Vice President, Dr. Sarah Steinberg, says this: students want to feel seen, heard, supported, meeting students where they are, being empathetic to their situations, and most importantly, being willing to work with them through challenges to find successes in our classes are just some ways we embody the culture of care in our classrooms every day. You know, we work to model consistency, Dr. Sarah and I do, in what we do in our profession as educators. And it's really an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to serve and to further student success and to care. You know, one thing that I know that we've done through the years, and I consider myself a seasoned faculty and experienced faculty, and what I look at is putting quality out in everything I do and innovating, finding new and better ways to reach students, and then also caring. You know, when you care, it trickles into the culture, it trickles into the student experience, and it makes life a little bit easier for everyone, and it sets the tone. And Sarah, you want to make any quick couple comments on caring?
Yeah, I think, you know, one of the things that I found really enriched my experience as an educator was that culture of care, that reciprocal care that we can build with our learners. So let's go ahead and move to our poll, Bill.
All right. Well, here you go. On question number 1. Think about this, because this is going to be an end outcome that we hope you achieve, that you just align strong to some of these core values, some of these words that we're putting out in front of you. Please, if you would, choose 2 words from our list that inspire you and also that help you live with more meaning and mission, passion, purpose in the lives, in your life, in our lives, and in your classrooms. Choose a couple of those if you would. I want to see what jumps out. Now, as you're choosing these, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about how the University of Arizona Global Campus vision inspires me, how it empowers me. We are here to enrich students, to empower students, to support students, and to graduate students. And that's what we strive to do, and give them a meaningful and gratifying learning experience. So that is my passion. I know it's Sarah's passion at the University of Wisconsin and in her profession and a deal, et cetera. So we're committed and dedicated. And these particular words, these concepts, these values, you embrace them. And compassion, you know, the advice that I like to leave with faculty, my colleagues, my stakeholders, is simply lead with care and act with compassion. So I'm very happy to see that compassion is out there at 65%. Innovation, new and better ways to do things. Empowering, right? Knowledge. For performance, you need experience, knowledge, and capacity, right? We're doing that for students as we educate. So with that said, we can close that poll now. And I'm going to move into, I'm going to give it to Sarah right now. Sarah, if you would please go ahead and let's take everybody attending here through the list. And the first thing we want to do is take a look at the meaning of these ideas to help guide our teaching and leader process. So Sarah, it's all yours.
Yeah, thanks so much, Bill. One thing that might not have shared with you all is that I'm a language teacher by training. So I love defining terms at the beginning of conversations so we know how we're using the word and that we're using it in the same way. And along those lines, in order to achieve success, defining these terms for ourselves, what do they mean to us, helps us to really purposefully use them in our teaching. So we're going to take a look at general meaning of 4 ideas here to help guide your teaching and leader process. And those 4 words are purpose, passion, vision, and active learning. So Bill, if you want to pop on, you're ahead of me here.
There we go.
All right, so purpose provides you with a sense of meaning and gives your life and career decisions direction. It helps you shape your goal. It provides you with a sense of direction. So at UW-Madison, our purpose is really defined by the Wisconsin idea, the principle that education should influence people's lives beyond the boundaries of the classroom. And the Wisconsin idea really demands a commitment to public service. And we do see this at UW-Madison through efforts such as the South Madison Partnership, which brings a university educational space into a community. The work of the Division of Continuing Studies and the University of Wisconsin Extension, UW Public Radio and TV stations, the School of Medicine and Public Health, our University Veterans Services, and our prison education program, to name just a few. Now, Bill mentioned that we're both involved in ADEAL, the Association for Distance Education and Independent Learning, and in that organization, our goals are to provide professional development opportunities and opportunities for collegiality and interaction. Now, the collaborative work that Bill and I have done together over the years, this is an example of how ADEAL's purpose comes to life. Not only are we collaborating across universities, we're also collaborating across disciplines. On the surface, someone might wonder what interdisciplinary collaboration between someone in the business school and a Germanic literary scholarship would be possible, but thanks to ADEAL, you are seeing the results of just such a collaboration today in this presentation. So although our disciplines are really quite different, Bill and I were able to connect and collaborate on effective ways of serving and reaching our learners. And we both bring scholarship from our respective disciplines into this topic, into our collaborations. And so that is an example of how the purpose of an organization really can empower its members.
Absolutely.
So passion is really your sense of energy for something. And according to Hudson and McLean, your passions are your internal energy source, the fire or determination you have for reaching some destination up ahead. Your passion tells you why you're on this journey and what you want from life. They're your push and pull. These passion energies might be derived from achievement, a search for meaning, compassion, contribution, and play and creativity. Every adult has the capacity to tap into these passions. I am personally passionate about education and education's potential to empower people to make positive changes in their lives. This passion drives my work at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. I'm also passionate about equal access to education, and this too drives my work, especially the work I do in the diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging space. So the last of 3, so close to the last term we have to define here is vision. So vision is what you hope the world will look like in the future because of your commitments and actions today. An inspiring and meaningful vision of the future can motivate you and motivate you into action. So I'm going to get a little bit personal with my example of vision here. The work I do as a foster parent fits into my vision for the future of my community. I am certain that the world will be a better place because of the difference I'm making in the lives of the children who are placed in my care. And that vision really informs my actions and the actions that I take as a foster parent with the kiddos placed with me. So I do have to admit that I was, oh, Bill, go ahead, next slide, please. I was not aware of the mission of the University of Arizona Global Campus prior to this presentation, but I do have to say I find your mission quite inspiring. So the vision is we strive to empower, support, enrich, and graduate every student. The purpose to transform the higher education landscape and make it accessible for everyone, no matter their background or circumstance. The mission of the University of Arizona Global Campus to provide a community of caring and guidance for academic, financial, mental health, and career support while providing a path that makes quality college education accessible to adult learners through online flexible degree and certificate programs. And now I'm going to hand things over to Bill, who's going to reflect on the UW vision, mission, and purpose.
Sarah, thank you. And your heartfelt, honest passion comes through loud and clear. And I know your dedication and commitment to students. And I've always admired that. And I've admired the work you do in a deal and what you do in your community and what you do for University of Wisconsin. So super, super job. I just want to say that Dr. Iris Lafferty and the leadership team formed this vision, and it inspired me. And once I heard this, I wrote it down. And I love doing the index cards. I put it down on top of my computer when we were first developing this. And to me, every time I get busy and I'm looking, I remember why I'm here. And I remember as I look ahead, okay, what am I looking to do here? What's our vision? What do we see in the future? What do we want to see in the classrooms? What do we want to see that's further student success? And really, it all comes down to the UAGC vision to align to that, which is to empower students, to support students, to enrich students, and graduate every student, in everything we do, whether that's a one-on-one conversation, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's in a discussion forum, whether it's talking to a group, whether it's going to UAGC Connect and a student club. We're doing all of those things, and we're aligned to that vision. Alignment is so important if you want job satisfaction. And by the way, I did write a short article on that. It just popped up in my brain here, the difference between job satisfaction and career contentment. In that short little article on the University of Arizona Global Campus blog, what you'll see there is I talk about alignment, leadership, strategies, culture, the whole vision, the whole alignment, very important. The purpose here, what are we trying to do at the University of Arizona Global Campus? We're trying to transform the higher education landscape and make it accessible for everyone, no matter their background or circumstance. And our president, Paul Pastorak, has given us 4 critical goals. And one of those goals is to leave our students with marketable skills. I love that. And as we do that, we're transforming them, and it all lines into the purpose and the vision. Our mission, love to be mission centric. That's where my focus is. And I put my behaviors and motivation toward the mission to provide a community of caring and guidance for academic, financial, mental health, and career support while providing a path that makes quality education accessible to adult learners through the online environment, the learning management system, flexible degree and certificate program. So we are on our way toward fulfilling this vision, this purpose, and this mission. We got purposeful goals. And as we move forward, it's so important to stay aligned and focused. Now, here's what I want you to do in the chat, if you would, please. Think about an educator okay, and think about a leader, coach, educator. What characteristics make them so successful? Can we get some action going in the chat, if you would, please? What do you see? I'll give you a couple starters, I guess. Optimism, passion, consideration. Did they take time for you? Did they take time out? What bubbles up to the surface of your brain right now when we ask you that question? I'm just curious. to see what really inspires and motivates you when it comes to an educator, to a leader, to a coach. And if somebody can mention some of those in the chat, Sarah, or somebody who is looking in.
I got it. We got encouraging, compelling, storytelling style, the ability to connect and motivate students, good listener, student focus, they teach for the people they serve, interactiveness, and lots of encouragement, lots of applying ideas to real life.
Bravo. Thank you, everyone. Let me tell you, those are so important. And we hear the word encouragement, so important. And when you're interacting with students, you have to model consistency. We have to be there for them. We have to provide them that time. So thank you for that. Now, let's talk a little bit about leadership and teaching strategies. And what we're going to talk about, I'm going to give it to Sarah in a slide or two here, but I want to tell you, as a pragmatic that transitioned in my highly successful career into academia by choice, I committed and dedicated myself toward furthering student success. And one of the things I went and learned about learning theories. I learned about adult learning theory. I learned active learning, Bonwell and Eisen. And Bonwell and Eisen, when I did the research and I looked at this, I said, this is going to be the foundation that I am going to embrace, with all my other durable skills and human relation skills, et cetera. But I was committed to this, in Bonwell and Eisen's active learning involve students in doing things. Our courses normally do that, but I like to facilitate that, just like we did here with an active learning method, asking you to post in the chat. But we want to practice having students think about things they are doing. Active learning requires intellectual effort, higher order thinking, and it means to assimilate, apply, and retain learning. Now, Sarah, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to you right now and let you go through the active learning.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Bill. Active learning is something that I am so committed to. As a language teacher, one of the things that all of the research in language pedagogy that we see says, if students aren't using the language, they're not learning the language. And so what do we actually mean by active learning? Well, there's a dialogue with yourself. This happens when a learner thinks reflectively about a topic. For example, they might ask themselves what they think or should think about what they feel about a topic. It's thinking about their own thinking. It addresses a broader array of questions as well. There is dialogue with others. This happens when a learner reads a textbook or listens to a lecture. They are listening to another person, and this is viewed as partial dialogue. It's limited as there's no back and forth exchange. Observing can be active learning. This occurs whenever a learner watches or listens to someone else doing something that's related to what they are learning about. This could be watching one's own teacher, supervisor, or other professionals doing something. It could be me watching a YouTube video on how to change out a serpentine belt. A direct observation means that the learner is observing the real action directly. And then finally, doing. Doing is an important piece of active learning. This is any learning activity where the learner actually does something. Maybe they're designing and giving a sales presentation. Maybe they're teaching a part of a workshop or experience managing part of a program. Maybe they're actually getting into their car engine to change that serpentine belt out themselves, right? So this is actually learners doing. Go ahead to the next slide there, Bill. One thing that I do in the language classroom can be summarized through this 3-step process for learning new skills. I do, we do, you do. Now, this isn't just limited to language instruction, of course. I think the pedagogic literature in a wide variety of disciplines points to how effective of a teaching and learning strategy this is. In this strategy, first, I, as a teacher, model what students are going to do. Then we do an activity together. Next, students practice the skill in small groups, and finally, students do the skill independently on their own. An example from my teaching is I might be talking about where I'm from, and I might want to teach my students how to do that as well. So I might start by saying, ich komme aus Nord Minnesota. Then I'll give the class 5 people with 5 locations, and we practice saying where these people are from together. Next, I'll put students in groups of 3 and ask them to practice sharing with their group members where they're from. And then finally, as the last you do step of this process, I'll assign students to complete an introduction of themselves to a pen pal and tell the pen pal where they're from. This is independent work the student completes on their own. Of course, the ideal we do, you do model will look different in different disciplines, but I've found that the more that I use this model in terms of foundational skills, the better able students are to be able to complete the larger, more complex skills and projects. A final note that I have to say on this slide is the independent You Do project might be based on several smaller I do, we do, you do part 1 activities. So we might be building up to a large and complex independent project step 4 through multiple iterations of modeling. Bill, do you want to go ahead to the next slide for me?
Sure.
All right. Now, I had the opportunity to connect with Dr. Newton Miller when he presented at UW-Madison, and I was so grateful for the chance to connect with him and learn from him. Recently, Bill here shared Dr. Miller's 2C method with me, and I thought that that method was especially impactful. In the 2C method, you first conceptualize and then you connect. So what that means is in the conceptualize portion, students are able to understand. So you're teaching for student understanding. Then in the connect half of the 2C method, you help students connect their learning to something that you know that is relative to them. That's the real world application. Bill, I know we're reaching the end of our time together today. Do you want to connect the dots for us here?
Absolutely. I just want to tell you, the more you repeat things, repetition is an active learning technique. So if you want to learn active learning, you want to get that in your brain, you want to remember it, recall it really quick. Just remember process of doing and observing, dialogue with self and dialogue with others. There's so many activities in a classroom, so many opportunities to active learn. And if you're aware of those dynamics, the processes, characteristics, you're going to retain so much more. And I'm watching the time to myself here because we want to begin on time and end on time. And what I'd like to say is remember your purpose, the why. Why are you doing things? Your passion, your sense of energy for something, your vision. What do you see? What do you want the world to look like? That can be short term, that can be long term. That can be I am not, don't say I can't do this. I can do this and I'm going to do this. And here's what I see as an outcome. For example, this presentation, the vision I had was that this flows smoothly. We leave the audience with 1 or 2 or 3, maybe ideas, inspiration. Maybe they can take something and use it. You're not going to retain everything that we present, but maybe there's a nugget or 2 in here for you. Maybe it's Newton Miller's 2C method. Maybe it's the review of Barbara Rogoff's, I do, we do, you do. Take that and get the value, apply learning, do that. Vision's so important, what you see. And then active learning, obviously, process of doing and observing, dialogue with self and others. I have lived that for 17 years. I learned that back in 2004 and I never forgot it. And I presented on it a few times and believe me, it works. When you think about the wonderful LMS system, our culture of care, everything we do here, and then you think about how can I apply active learning in this model? Boy, you can really give students that aha moment where they just shine like a pearl and they learn something and are excited to keep learning. What you heard here today, I did do a short article on this. I've written this and we've added to it from time to time, but the value of purpose, passion, and vision and how to achieve success. Now, this not only relates to the classroom, this can relate in life. This can relate to a project. This can relate to something you're doing at home or a vacation or whatever. But see the value in having that purpose of what you're trying to accomplish, the why. Put your energy toward it. Be positive, positive leadership. See the good. Being an optimist doesn't mean you're blind to the negative. It just means you see the possibilities, the challenges, and you're going to overcome them. And then have a vision of success. Visualize success. Athletes do it all the time. They see themselves succeeding. And here's a link for you too. And Stephanie, I don't know if you want to put that in the chat, if you want to copy that, if that's possible. But if you go to the UAGC blog, you'll find the value of purpose, passion, and vision and how to achieve success. I think you'll enjoy this article. And we want to thank you, a big old thank you to everyone attending this. We hope that you gain some value, a little value, something that you can use. Every time I learn from people in this wonderful conference, there's always one or two or three things that I take and write down on an index card. And I say, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to think about this. And again, I'm going to active learn with it. And so anyway, thank you for attending this. Thank you for all you do for students. We're all in this together. And again, I'll leave you with one quote. Dr. Laura Palmer Noon, who was our provost, says the 3 attributes for success, or the 3 attributes of success. You ready for them? Attitude, attitude, and attitude. And I'll tell you, if you got a positive attitude, you can really do some good for students and do some good for your university. So Stephanie or Sarah, any closing thoughts?
I just really appreciate all of the positivity. I've been kind of looking at the chat, and so many people have said this model is great. The 2 C's model, the I do, you do, I do, we do, you do, the active learning. There's so much here, and I think as we're thinking about how do we tie passion, purpose, vision in with our teaching, the passion, purpose, and vision, that sets up who we're going to be in the classroom so we can positively engage with our students and utilize those instructional pedagogies in a way that really supports and furthers their success.
Absolutely, Sarah. And audience, please go back to your the words you chose in the beginning. We hope we've enhanced that. We hope we focus you toward your vision, your organization's vision and mission. And we hope that you talk the walk and walk the talk. And remember, students are watching more how we walk it than we talk it. So serve well, educate well, and continue to give your very, very best. So thank you for listening. Stephanie, I'm going to turn over to you. I think we were 3 minutes ahead of time. So
Yeah. Well, thank you, Sarah and Bill. It's very much appreciated. And there are a lot of thank yous from the chat as well. And thank you for the audience for your participation in today's session. We encourage you to attend the next keynote presentation, UAGC Teaching and Learning Conference Closing Remarks, which takes place later today at 4 p.m. Central Time. Enjoy the rest of TLC, everyone.